the zip ties cut into her wrists. Zara Obi wasn't supposed to be in Seoul tonight. She was supposed to be on a plane back to Lagos, leaving behind 8 months of teaching English to Korean kids, leaving behind her brother's mess, leaving behind the threatening messages that started 3 weeks ago. But Cheeky called, begged. "One more day, Zara. I'll fix everything, I promise." He lied. Now she sat blindfolded in the back of a van that smelled like cigarettes and something metallic she didn't want to identify. Her mouth was taped. Her heart slammed against her ribs so hard she thought it might break through. The van's engine cut off. Doors opened. Cold night air hit her skin. Rough hands dragged her out. Her feet stumbled on concrete. Someone gripped her arm hard enough to bruise. She heard him before she saw him. "Is she the one?" A voice in Korean, cold, bored, like this was routine. The blindfold came off. Zara's eyes adjusted to harsh fluorescent lights in what looked like a warehouse. Empty, concrete. The kind of place people disappeared, and standing 10 feet away, adjusting his cuffs like he possessed all the time in the world, was the most beautiful and terrifying man she'd ever seen. Tall, dangerous. A snake tattoo coiling up his neck and disappearing into his black collar. Eyes so dark, they looked empty. "Where is your brother?" he asked in perfect English, each word sharp as a blade. Zara's breath came in short gasps through her nose. "The tape." He nodded once. One of his men ripped it off. She gasped, tasted blood. "I don't know," she choked out. "I don't know where he is. Please." "Wrong answer." He pulled a gun from his waist, checked it casually. "Your brother stole from me, cost me territory, cost me men. So now I take something from him." I don't even talk to him. I'm leaving tomorrow." "You're not leaving." He stepped closer, the gun loose in his hand, comfortable, like it belonged there. "You're the message, and when he sees what I've done to his little sister, he'll come running." Zara's vision blurred with tears. This was it. She survived her father's death, her mother's cancer, a broken engagement, moving to a foreign country alone. All of it, just to die in a Seoul warehouse because of her useless brother's gambling debts. "Please." The tears spilled over. "Please, I'm a teacher. I have students. I didn't do anything." "I know." He crouched in front of her, studied her face with those empty eyes. "That's what makes it effective." Then he stood, aimed the gun at her forehead. His phone rang. He answered in rapid Korean. His expression shifted. Confusion flickered across his face. Then anger. Then something else she couldn't read. He lowered the gun, looked at her. Really looked this time. "What's your name?" "Zara." "Your brother's name?" Cheek Obi." More Korean into the phone. Harsh, fast, his jaw clenched. He hung up. The warehouse went silent except for her ragged breathing. "Wrong sister," he said finally, his voice flat. "Cheek Obi's sister is named Adaora. You're..." "His half-sister. Different mothers. I barely know him." "You're nobody." He said it like a revelation. Like a problem he hadn't anticipated. "You're not even the right leverage." Zara should have felt relief. Instead, she felt the cold certainty of what came next. If she wasn't useful, she was a witness. And witnesses to men like this didn't walk away. He confirmed it by raising the gun again. Wait! She scrambled backward, the zip ties biting deeper into her wrists. "You can still use me. He'll still care. He's my brother." "Half-brother, you barely know." His finger moved to the trigger. "I don't leave witnesses, Zara Obi." "Then you'll never find him." The words exploded out of her. "He contacts me. Not Adaora, me. He's been calling me for weeks. I have his messages, his locations, everything." Complete lie. But it made him pause. "Show me." "My phone, my bag, they took it." He snapped his fingers. Someone brought her purse, dumped it out on the concrete. He picked up her phone, held it to her face to unlock it. Zara's mind raced. She only had 3 messages from Cheek. All from weeks ago. All vague. Nothing useful. He scrolled through her messages. His jaw tightened. She watched realization settle into his face. "You're lying. I can get him to contact me. I can make him..." "You're a terrible liar, Zara Obi." He pocketed her phone, raised the gun one more time. "But I appreciate the effort to survive." She closed her eyes, waited for the end. The gunshot never came. Instead, take her to the East Wing, medical room, keep her comfortable. Zara's eyes flew open. What? Your brother will look for you eventually, and when he does, I'll be waiting. He holstered the gun like the decision was already forgotten. Until then, you're my guest. You mean prisoner? I mean alive. He started walking away, his footsteps echoing in the empty space. Then he stopped. Didn't turn around. Consider it a gift. Most people don't get a second chance after lying to me. Hey besties, welcome to Soul Heart Stories. Kindly show encouragement by smashing that subscribe button right now, because what happens next between Zara and the man who was supposed to kill her? It's going to wreck you in the best way possible. Now, let's get back to it, because Yoon Tae-yang just made a decision that's about to change both of their lives forever. Yoon Tae-yang was 30 years old, and never let anyone see him hesitate. Not when his mother was killed by the Black Crane gang when he was 12. Not when his father dragged him to watch the retaliation killing as education. Not when his fiancée Min Seo was shot in the head 3 years ago as revenge against him, dying in his arms while he begged her to stay. Control was everything. Control was survival. The moment you hesitated, showed mercy, let emotion cloud judgment, you were dead. The snake tattoo that coiled up his neck and down his spine wasn't decoration. It was a reminder. Snakes didn't hesitate. Snakes struck fast, struck fatal, and felt nothing. He was tall, towering frame of controlled violence wrapped in expensive Italian suits. His face belonged in cinematic billboards except for the coldness in his eyes and the thin scar cutting through his left eyebrow. A gift from his father during a lesson about showing weakness. Women called him beautiful. Men called him lethal. Both were right. He ran Seoul's Gangnam territory for the Jade Serpent Gang. Clubs, gambling, protection, loans. The empire his father built and left him when a heart attack took the old man last year. Tae-yang inherited everything. The money, the power, the enemies, the blood debts, and the insomnia that kept him awake every night, playing Chopin on his piano at 3 a.m. because it was the only time he felt almost human. Tonight should have been simple. Cheek Obi owed him 500 million won, disappeared instead of paying, so they'd take his sister, make an example, and Cheek would surface. Standard procedure. Except they took the wrong sister. Tae-yang stood in his office on the top floor of his compound, staring out at Seoul's glittering skyline. Behind him, his second-in-command Do-yeon shifted uncomfortably. We can still use her, Do-yeon offered. Half-sister is still family. She doesn't even know where he is. Tae-yang's voice was flat. You heard her? She barely talks to him. So we keep her until Chike surfaces. He turned from the window. How long has he been missing? 3 weeks since the last payment was due. 5 weeks since anyone's seen him. He's either dead or in China. Tae-yang adjusted his cuffs, a nervous habit he'd never managed to break. Either way, the sister is useless. Should I? Do-yoon made a gesture. Quick, clean. Tae-yang should have said yes. Should have eliminated the problem, the witness, the complication. It's what his father would have done, what the old man trained him to do. Instead, he heard himself say, no, we keep her comfortable, fed, safe. Boss, she's a teacher, Do-yeon. She teaches Korean children how to speak English. She came to Seoul alone 8 months ago and built a life here. He didn't know why he was saying this. Didn't know why it mattered. She doesn't deserve to die because her half-brother is a coward and a thief. Do-yeon stared at him like he'd grown a second head. Since when do we care about what people deserve? Since never. That was the answer. They didn't care. Couldn't afford to care. But something about the way Zara Obi looked at him when he aimed that gun. Not just terrified, but resigned. Like she expected the world to be this cruel. Like she was tired of fighting against it. It reminded him of how he felt most days. Just do what I said, Tae-yang snapped. And have someone bring her dinner. Something good. Nigerian food if we can find it. Do-yeon left, still confused. Tae-yang pulled out his phone, opened the security camera feed for the medical room where they'd taken her. She sat on the bed, knees pulled to her chest, shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Her brown skin looked ashen in the harsh lighting. Her natural hair, thick curls that probably looked beautiful normally, was messy from the blindfold and tape. She still wore the zip ties on her wrists because no one thought to remove them. He watched her cry for 5 full minutes. Then he left his office and went to her. Zara heard the lock click. She looked up, quickly wiping her face even though there was no point pretending. He'd already seen her at her worst, begging, lying, crying. Yun Tai Yang stepped into the medical room and closed the door behind him. In the better lighting, she could see more details. The sharp line of his jaw. The way his black hair was styled perfectly. The snake tattoo that was actually beautiful in a horrifying way. Intricate scales, fangs bared, coiled like it was about to strike. He looked at her wrists, still bound. His expression flickered. Was that guilt? "Come here," he said. Zara didn't move, couldn't make her legs work. He sighed, pulled a knife from his pocket. She flinched. "I'm cutting the ties," he said, his voice gentler than before. "Come here, please." The please surprised her enough to make her stand. Move forward on shaking legs. He caught her wrists carefully, turned them to examine where the plastic cut into her skin. Blood beaded where she'd struggled. He made a soft sound, disapproval or sympathy she couldn't tell, and cut the ties with one quick motion. Blood rushed back to her hands. She gasped at the pins and needles' pain. "Sit." He gestured to the bed. She sat, watched him pull out his phone, type something in Korean. 2 minutes later, someone knocked. He opened the door, took a first aid kit, closed it again, locked it. Zara's heart raced. They were alone. This beautiful, deadly man who almost killed her was walking toward her with a first aid kit and an expression she couldn't read. He knelt in front of her. "Give me your wrists." She did, mostly because she was too shocked to refuse. He cleaned the cuts with antiseptic, gentle, methodical, like he'd done this before. His hands were steady. Large hands, probably capable of terrible things. But right now, they were careful with her. "I'm sorry about the ties," he said quietly, not looking at her face. "They should have removed them immediately." Zara didn't know what to say to that. Sorry seemed inadequate from a man who ordered her kidnapping. He wrapped bandages around her wrists, white gauze, against her dark skin. His fingers brushed her pulse point, and she felt him pause, feel how fast her heart was racing. "You're safe here," he said, still not looking up. "I won't hurt you. You were going to kill me." "I was." Finally, he met her eyes. "But I'm not going to, you have my word." "The word of a gangster." "The word of Yun Tai Yang." He stood, stepped back. "Which means something in this city, whether you believe it or not." "Why?" The question burst out of her. "Why not just, if I'm useless, if my brother isn't coming, why keep me alive?" He was quiet for a long moment. Looked at her like he was trying to figure that out himself. "Because I'm tired," he said finally. "I'm tired of killing people who don't deserve it. And you don't deserve it, Zara Obi." Then he walked to the door, stopped with his hand on the handle. "Someone will bring you dinner soon. Tomorrow I'll have clothes brought. Your size, toiletries, books if you want them, whatever you need to be comfortable." "Comfortable in my cage?" He turned back, and for the first time, she saw something almost like sadness in those dark eyes. "Yes," he agreed. "I'm sorry it has to be this way. But you saw my face. You know where you are. I can't let you leave. Not yet." "Then when?" "I don't know. Honest. Brutal. When I figure out what to do with you." He left. The lock clicked. Zara sat alone in her beautiful prison, because it was beautiful. Clean white walls, expensive furniture, soft bed, like a luxury hotel room. Except for the locked door and the cameras in the corners she noticed now. She looked at her bandaged wrists, felt the gentleness of how he'd wrapped them. Remembered the exhaustion in his voice when he said he was tired of killing people who don't deserve it. This was insane. She was experiencing something insane. Trauma response, her brain trying to humanize her captor because that's what brains did to survive, right? But he did spare her life. Twice. When logic said he should have just pulled the trigger and solved the problem. Zara lay back on the bed, stared at the ceiling, and wondered if her students noticed she didn't show up to class today. If her landlord was worried? If anyone in this entire city would look for her? Probably not. She'd been in Seoul for 8 months and built a life here, yes. But she was still alone. Her mother back in Lagos was too sick to help. Her few friends were casual acquaintances, and Chike, the brother who dragged her into this mess, clearly wasn't coming. No one was coming for her. The realization felt worse than the zip ties. When someone knocked and brought in dinner, jollof rice, grilled chicken, fried plantains, Zara cried again. Because he remembered. Because he ordered Nigerian food for his prisoner. Because maybe the monster who kidnapped her was the only person in Seoul who actually saw her. The first 3 days were the worst. Zara tried the door 17 times. It was always locked. She screamed once, just to see if anyone would come. No one did. She threw a book at the camera. Someone came within minutes. Not Tae Yang, but a woman in her 50s who spoke broken English and brought a replacement book, plus 3 more. "Boss says you like reading," the woman said, smiling like this was a bed and breakfast instead of a kidnapping. "I bring more. Also, what size clothes?" Zara wanted to refuse. Wanted to stay in the same jeans and sweater she'd been wearing as an act of defiance. But they were dirty, and she was practical above all else. She gave her size. The next morning, her room had a whole wardrobe. Casual clothes, modest clothes, nothing revealing, nothing uncomfortable. Like whoever chose them actually considered what she'd want. The woman came back with toiletries. Nigerian brands. The shea butter her mother used to buy in Lagos. The black soap that made her skin feel like home. Zara sat on the bathroom floor and cried because she didn't understand what was happening. Why they were being kind. Why Tai Yang was keeping her alive and comfortable instead of just ending it. On day 4, everything changed. She woke up at 3 a.m. to music. Piano music. Floating through the walls from somewhere else in the compound. Chopin, if she remembered correctly from her college music appreciation class. Nocturne in E-flat major. It was beautiful, heartbreaking. Played by someone who felt every note. Zara got out of bed, pressed her ear to the wall, listened to the music weave through the darkness. When it ended, she felt the silence like a loss. The next night, 3 a.m. again. More Chopin. This time she recognized it. Ballade number 1 in G minor. Harder, more aggressive. Like whoever was playing was working through something violent. On the 6th night, she couldn't take it anymore. She banged on the door until someone came. The same older woman, looking worried. "Who's playing piano?" Zara demanded. "Boss. He plays every night, can't sleep." Can I listen? Closer?" The woman hesitated. "I ask." She came back 30 minutes later. "Boss says okay, but you stay with me. I bring you." Zara followed her through the compound. It was massive. Warehouse exterior hiding a luxury interior. They walked down carpeted hallways, past rooms with closed doors, up a flight of stairs. The music got louder, clearer. The woman stopped at a door, slightly ajar, gestured for Zara to look. She did. The room was dark, except for a single lamp near a grand piano. And at the piano, Tae Yang sat in just black dress pants and a white undershirt, his tattoo fully visible. The snake coiling down his neck, across his shoulders, down his spine. Every scale perfectly detailed. His eyes were closed. His fingers moved across the keys like they were telling a story. And his face was pain. Pure pain. Like the music was the only way he knew how to bleed. Zara watched him play. Forgot to breathe. Forgot she was supposed to hate this man. Because right now, he looked as trapped as she felt. The piece ended. Silence filled the space. Then Tae Yang spoke, eyes still closed. "You can come in, Zara. I know you're there." She should have run back to her room. Instead, Zara pushed the door open, stepped inside. The older woman, Mrs. Han, she'd learned, stayed in the hallway but didn't close the door. Tae Yang opened his eyes, looked at her. He wasn't surprised, just resigned. "Couldn't sleep?" he asked. "Your music woke me up. I can play quieter." "No." She moved closer, stopped a safe distance away. "It's beautiful. You're really good." He looked back at the piano keys. "My grandmother taught me. She said even snakes can appreciate beauty, they just can't create it." She was wrong. Snakes can create beauty. We just do it while poisoning everything around us. The metaphor wasn't subtle. "Is that what you think you are?" Zara asked quietly. "A snake?" "You saw my tattoo." He flexed his shoulders, making the scales ripple. It's not symbolic. It's literal. I strike. I kill. I feel nothing. But you play Chopin at 3 a.m. because you can't sleep. That's not nothing. His jaw clenched. You don't know anything about me. I know you could have killed me 6 times by now. And you haven't. She took another step closer. Dangerous, stupid, but she needed answers. I know you ordered Nigerian food for me. Black soap, shea butter, books. You're either the world's most considerate kidnapper, or you're not as much of a snake as you think you are. Taeyang stood abruptly. The piano bench scraped against the floor. He walked to the window, put his back to her, his tattoo on full display. 6 years ago, I was engaged, he said. Her name was Min Seo. She was kind. Too kind for my world. But she thought she could save me, change me, make me better. His voice went flat. The Black Crane gang didn't agree. They shot her in the head while we were having dinner. She died in my arms. Her last words were, I'm sorry. She was dying, and she apologized to me. Zara felt her throat tighten. I killed every single person involved, Taeyang continued. 23 people. Some of them weren't even there that night. But they were connected, so they died. I felt nothing, because feeling things gets the people you love killed. He finally turned around. The pain on his face was raw, unguarded. So yes, Zara, I'm a snake. And you being kind to me, humanizing me, thinking I'm something I'm not. It's dangerous. For both of us. I'm not trying to save you, Zara said. I'm just trying to understand you. Because I'm trapped here, and you're the only person I see, and She stopped, started again. I hear you playing, and I don't hear a monster. I hear someone who's hurting, and I know what that feels like. Your brother. My father. He died when I was 19. Heart attack, sudden. One day he was there, teaching me how to negotiate with Lagos market women, and the next day, he was gone. She wrapped her arms around herself. Then my mother got cancer. She's in remission now, but the medical bills destroyed us. Then my fiancé Tundi decided I wasn't good enough because my family was struggling. So I left. Came here, started over. And your brother's debt brought you right back to destruction. Seems to be my pattern. Taeyang studied her face for a long moment. Then he walked back to the piano, sat down, gestured to the space beside him. Sit. I'll play something less depressing. Zara should have said no, should have gone back to her room, maintained the distance between prisoner and captor. She sat. He started playing. Something softer this time. Simpler. His hands moved across the keys, and this close, she could see the scars on his knuckles. Old wounds, probably from hitting people, hurting people. But right now, those hands were creating something beautiful. My grandmother used to say music is prayer without words, Taeyang said, still playing. That even if you don't believe in God anymore, music is how you talk to whatever's left of your soul. Do you believe in God? I stopped believing in God the day my mother was killed and no one answered my prayers. The music turned darker. But I still play, just in case some part of me is still salvageable. Zara didn't think, just reached out, put her hand over his on the keys. The music stopped. He stared at their hands, hers dark brown against his lighter skin, her fingers small against his large ones. You're not unsalvageable, she whispered. You don't know what I've done. I know you're playing Chopin at 3 a.m. in the dark, and that tells me more than any list of your sins ever could. He turned his hand over, caught her fingers in his, held them like he was afraid they'd disappear. They sat like that in silence, the compound quiet around them, two broken people finding temporary peace in a moment that shouldn't exist. Mrs. Han cleared her throat from the doorway. Boss, son coming soon, she should go back. The spell broke. Taeyang released Zara's hand like it burned, stood, put distance between them. Go, he said, his voice cold again. And don't come back. This was a mistake. Zara stood, feeling the rejection like a slap. I'm sorry if I... Just go, Zara. She did. Mrs. Han guided her back to her room, locked the door. But when Zara lay in bed watching the sun rise, she swore she could still feel the warmth of his hand holding hers. And she knew with terrifying certainty, that something had shifted between them. Something dangerous. something that felt inevitable. 1 week after the kidnapping, everything went to hell. Zara was eating breakfast, Korean food this time. She was learning to love kimchi when the door burst open. Not Mrs. Han, not the guards she'd grown used to seeing. Tai Yang, breathing hard, blood on his white shirt. "Get up," he ordered. "Now." "What?" "Black cranes know you're here. They're coming. We have 3 minutes." He grabbed her arm, pulled her toward the door. "Wait, my things?" "Leave it. Move, now." His urgency was terrifying. Zara ran. They flew through the compound. She heard shouts in Korean, gunshots, the sound of windows breaking. Tai Yang pushed her into a black car, threw himself into the driver's seat, peeled out of the garage before she even had her seatbelt on. More gunshots. The rear window shattered. Zara screamed, "Get down!" Tai Yang shoved her head below the dashboard, steering with one hand while returning fire with the other. This was insane. This was actual warfare. Bullets and screaming and the smell of gunpowder. The car swerved violently. Something hit the side. Then they were moving faster, faster, until the sounds of fighting faded behind them. After 10 minutes, Tai Yang pulled into an underground parking garage. Killed the engine. Silence except for their ragged breathing. "Are you hurt?" He pulled her up, checked her for wounds with shaking hands. "Zara, are you hurt?" "No, I'm fine." She wasn't fine. She was shaking so hard her teeth chattered. "What was that? What just happened?" "They found out about you." He punched the steering wheel, the sound echoing. Fuck. I got careless. They've been watching, and now they know you matter to me." "Matter to you? I'm your prisoner. You stopped being just a prisoner days ago, and you know it." He looked at her, and his eyes were desperate. "I never should have let you sit with me. Never should have talked to you. Never should have..." He stopped himself. "Now they'll use you to get to me. Just like Minseo." Zara's blood went cold. "The Black Cranes. They killed your fiancé. And now they'll try to kill you too." He got out of the car, paced, ran his hands through his hair. "I need to move you. Somewhere safer. Somewhere even Do Yoon doesn't know about. Or you could let me go." He laughed, sharp and bitter. "Let you go? Where? Back to your apartment? They already know who you are now. They'll find you. Torture you for information about me. Kill you slowly." He stopped pacing, looked at her through the car window. "The moment I took you, your life connected to mine. There's no untangling it now." Zara got out of the car, walked right up to him. "Then what am I supposed to do? Spend the rest of my life running? Hiding? Waiting for the day your enemies catch up to us? Better than the alternative. Which is? Watching you die because of me." His voice broke. I can't do that again, Zara. I can't watch another person He stopped. Swallowed. Hard. "I won't lose you. I won't." "Another person you what?" She pushed, needed to hear him say it. "Another person I care about." The admission seemed to cost him. "I wasn't supposed to care about you. You were supposed to be leverage, a problem, a witness to eliminate. But then you cried over Nigerian food, and looked at me like I was human, and listened to my music at 3 a.m., and held my hand like I deserved gentleness, and now I'd burn my entire empire to keep you safe." He said it like a confession, like a curse. "And I don't know what to do with that." Zara's heart was beating so hard it hurt. This was wrong. All of this was wrong. Stockholm Syndrome. Trauma bonding. She was supposed to hate this man who kidnapped her, not feel her chest ache at the desperation in his voice. But she did. God help her, she did. "Where are we going?" she asked quietly. "I have a safe house, outside Seoul, in the mountains. No one knows about it except me." "Not even your men? Not even them?" He moved closer, and she didn't back away. "It's where I go when I need to disappear. When the life gets too heavy. It's off-grid, safe. We'll stay there until I can figure out how to end this." "How to end what? The war? The Black Cranes? All of it." His jaw clenched. "I'm going to finish what started 6 years ago. And when I do, you'll be free." "Free to what? Go back to Lagos? Pretend none of this happened?" "Free to live without looking over your shoulder every second." Zara almost laughed. I don't think either of us will ever stop looking over our shoulders. She was right. Taeyang knew she was right. Get back in the car, he said. We have a 2-hour drive. She did. He started the engine. They drove out of Seoul in silence, the city disappearing behind them, the mountains rising ahead. And Zara realized that somewhere between being kidnapped and being saved, she'd stopped wanting to escape. She just wanted to survive whatever was coming next. The safe house was beautiful, hidden in the mountains, accessible only by a narrow dirt road surrounded by trees. It was small, just 1 bedroom, a living area, a kitchen, but peaceful in a way Zara hadn't felt in weeks. Taeyang checked every window, every lock, every possible entry point. Then he made calls in Korean, his voice low and urgent. Zara stood on the small porch, looked out at the forest. Birds sang, wind rustled through leaves. It felt impossible that somewhere down the mountain, people were trying to kill them. We're safe here, Taeyang said from behind her. For now. For how long? A week, maybe 2, until I can arrange things. Arrange what? Retribution. He said it simply. The Black Cranes made a mistake today. They showed their hand. Now I know which of my people betrayed me, told them about you, and I'm going to make them regret it. There was the snake again, the violence she'd almost forgotten about. When? She asked. In a few days. First, I need to make sure you're settled, that you have everything you need. I don't need anything except answers. She turned to face him. What happens after the retribution? After the war? What happens to me? I told you, you're free. But what if I don't want to be free? The words came out before she could stop them. What if I... His phone rang. He answered, his expression darkening as he listened. More Korean, angry and sharp. He hung up, looked at Zara with something like horror. What? She asked. What's wrong? Your brother, he said. Cheek, he's alive, and he just contacted the Black Cranes. What? Why would he? He's offering to sell information about you in exchange for debt forgiveness. Taeyang's voice was hollow. He's selling his own sister to save himself. The world tilted. Zara sat down on the porch steps because her legs wouldn't hold her anymore. Cheek, her brother, the person she came to Seoul to help. The reason she stayed that extra day. The reason she got kidnapped in the first place. He was selling her. I'm sorry, Taeyang said quietly. He sat beside her, not touching, just present. I'm sorry he's doing this to you. I should have known. Her voice came out thick. He's been using me my whole life. Borrowing money, making promises, disappearing. Why would this be different? Because he's your brother. You're supposed to be able to trust family. You can't, though, can you? She looked at him. Trust family? No, he admitted. My father beat me. My mother's gone. My grandmother was the only one who loved me, and she died last year. Family is just another word for people who hurt you first. They sat in silence, 2 people with family-shaped scars. What are we going to do? Zara finally asked. We? Taeyang looked at her surprised. You said I matter to you, that you'd burn your empire to keep me safe. She held his gaze. So what are we going to do? Something shifted in his expression. Relief, maybe, or hope. The Black Cranes will meet with Cheek in 2 days, he said. They'll expect information about where you are, how to get to you. Your brother will tell them everything he knows. Which is nothing. I never told him about any of this. He'll tell them about your apartment, your work, your routines before the kidnapping. Taeyang's jaw clenched. They'll use that to track patterns, find associates, look for weaknesses. So we let them waste their time. No. He stood, started pacing, the strategic mind working. We use Cheek, set a trap, make them think they found you when really, we're waiting for them. You want to use me as bait. I want to end this. He stopped pacing, crouched in front of her. I want to eliminate the threat so you can actually be free. Not hiding in mountains, not jumping at every sound. Actually free, Zara. And what about Cheek? Taeyang's expression went cold. What about him? He's still my brother. He's selling you to people who will torture you for information, then kill you. Slowly. His voice was hard. That's not a brother. That's a coward using blood relation as a shield. Zara knew he was right. Knew Cheeky deserved whatever came next. But something in her, the part that remembered being 7 years old when Cheeky let her ride his bicycle, The part that remembered him crying at their father's funeral couldn't quite let go. Don't kill him, she said quietly. Please, hurt him if you have to. Make him pay, but don't kill him. Zara, please. She put her hand on his. I'm asking you, not as your prisoner, as whatever we are to each other now. Please don't kill my brother. Tae-yang looked at their joined hands, sighed. Fine, he agreed, and she could see it cost him. I won't kill him, but he'll wish I had. That's fair. He studied her face. You're too forgiving. No, I'm just tired of more death. She squeezed his hand. There's been enough already. They sat on the porch as the sun started setting, painting the mountains gold and orange. Beautiful, peaceful, wrong, given everything happening. Can I ask you something? Zara said after a while. Yes. The medical room, in your compound. It was so well stocked, like a real hospital room. Why? Tae-yang was quiet for a long moment. My grandmother. She had a heart condition. Toward the end, she needed constant care. I had that room built so she could be comfortable, have everything she needed. His voice went soft. She died there 6 months ago. I was holding her hand. She said, find someone who makes you want to be better, Tae-yang. Find them and hold on. Those were her last words. She sounds wise. She was the only good thing in my life. What was her name? Song-hee. It means blossom joy. He smiled, sad and distant. She used to garden, roses mostly. She said even thorns can create beauty if you're patient enough. Zara felt her chest ache. I wish I could have met her. She would have liked you. Tae-yang looked at her. She used to go to the hospital for checkups. Seoul National University Hospital. She mentioned once that there was a lovely African woman who always visited her mother. Said the woman had such a kind smile, even though you could tell she was exhausted. Said she gave her extra blankets from the nurse's station when she noticed Song-hee was cold. Zara's breath caught. Wait, what? It was you, wasn't it? His voice was soft. 8 months ago, my grandmother, you were kind to her. The memory came flooding back. An older Korean woman in the waiting room shivering. Zara had been visiting her mother, seen the woman, grabbed extra blankets without thinking. They'd smiled at each other. Couldn't speak much, but warmth transcended language. The woman with the roses, Zara whispered. She had pictures of roses on her phone. She showed me. She came home that day and told me about you. The angel with the beautiful smile who showed her kindness. Tae-yang's eyes were bright. She made me promise that if I ever met you, I'd thank you. I never knew your name. Never knew how to find you. And then you kidnapped me? And then I kidnapped you. He laughed, short and sharp. Song-hee would have found that hilarious. And horrifying. Zara didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The absurdity of it, the impossible coincidence, the way the universe seemed to be forcing them together through tragedy and violence, and now this impossible connection. I think your grandmother is orchestrating this from beyond, she said. If anyone could, it would be her. Tae-yang stood, pulled Zara up with him. Come inside, I'll make dinner. You cook? Barely, but I can make ramyeon without burning down the house. They went inside. He cooked, instant noodles with eggs and vegetables, nothing fancy. But they ate together at the small table, and it felt domestic in a way that made Zara's chest ache. This was wrong. She shouldn't be comfortable here. Shouldn't be laughing at his terrible cooking jokes. Shouldn't be looking at this man who kidnapped her and feeling something warm and terrifying growing in her chest. But she was. She did. After dinner, Tae-yang gave her the bedroom, said he'd sleep on the couch. We can share, Zara said, then immediately regretted it. I mean, there's only one bed, and you're tall. The couch will kill your back. Zara. He looked at her seriously. If I share a bed with you right now, with everything that's happened today, with how I'm feeling? He stopped, started again. I'm trying to be respectful. You're not my prisoner anymore. I need you to know that. You can tell me no. You can have boundaries. You can... She kissed him. Didn't think. Just moved forward, put her hand on his cheek, pressed her lips to his. He froze for half a second. Then he kissed her back, his hands coming up to cup her face, gentle and desperate at the same time. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Zara said. I'm not your prisoner. I'm choosing this. Choosing you. Even though it's insane. Even though I should hate you. I'm choosing this. You're going to regret it, he whispered against her lips. Probably. She kissed him again. But I'm tired of running from things that feel real. They made it to the bedroom. Barely. Clothes shed between kisses. His hands careful despite the urgency, always checking. Is this okay? Tell me to stop and I will. Until she pulled him closer and said, Don't stop. Please don't stop. That night, in a safe house hidden in mountains, the Mafia heir and the teacher found something neither expected. Tenderness in the chaos. Mercy in the violence. Choice in the captivity. When Zara woke up at 3 a.m., Taeyang was sitting by the window, looking out at the dark forest. Can't sleep? She asked. Never can? Come back to bed. I'll just wake you. I don't mind. He came back, let her pull him close. Rested his head against her chest like he needed to hear her heartbeat to believe she was real. What are you thinking? She whispered, running her fingers through his hair. That I'm terrified. He admitted. That this feels too good. That every time I've loved something, it's been taken from me. That you're going to be next. I'm not going anywhere. You don't know that. Neither do you. She tilted his face up. But we're here now. Can that be enough? He kissed her instead of answering. And they stayed like that, tangled together, breathing in sync, until the sun started rising over the mountains. 2 days later, Taeyang got the call. It's set, he told Zara, pocketing his phone. Cheek meets the Black Cranes tonight. Seoul Harbor, Pier 17. They'll expect information. We'll be waiting. What's the plan? Dooyeon will be there with 20 men. I'll have snipers on the rooftops. When Cheek tells them about you, when they move to confirm the information, we take them all out. Clean. Fast. And my brother? I'll keep my promise. He lives. Taeyang's jaw clenched. But he'll understand what he did, what he gave up. They left the safe house at sunset. The drive back to Seoul was tense, quiet. Zara kept her hand in his, and he held on like she was the only solid thing in his world. When this is over, she said as the city lights appeared on the horizon, what happens to us? I don't know. Honest. Always honest. I've never thought past survival before. Start thinking. What do you want? He glanced at her. Really, if you could have anything. A life where I don't have to choose between safety and freedom. Where I can teach again. See my mother. But also... She stopped, afraid to say it. Also? Also have you. She said it fast. I want you. The real you. Not the snake, not the Mafia heir, just... Taeyang, who plays Chopin at 3 a.m. and can't cook, and wraps my wrists gently, and looks at me like I'm something precious. His hand tightened on the steering wheel. That person might not exist without the rest. I think he does. She brought his hand to her lips, kissed his scarred knuckles. I think your grandmother was right. You just need someone who makes you want to be better. And you think you're that person? I think we could try. She smiled. If we survive tonight. When we survive tonight. He corrected. I don't lose twice. They arrived at Seoul Harbor 40 minutes early. Taeyang parked 3 blocks away, walked her through the plan one more time. You stay in the car, he ordered. Doors locked, engine running. If anything goes wrong, and I mean anything, you drive. Don't wait for me. Don't look back. Just go to the safe house and wait. I'm not leaving you. Zara? I'm not. She grabbed his face, made him look at her. We're in this together now. You said it yourself. My life is connected to yours. So if you're walking into danger, I'm not sitting in a car hoping you come back. If something happens to you, then you'll burn the world, I know. She kissed him. Hard. Final. But nothing's going to happen. We're going to end this. Together. He looked like he wanted to argue. Instead, he kissed her back, poured everything into it. Fear, and hope, and desperation, and something that might have been love. Stay behind me, he finally said. Always. And if I tell you to run, I'll consider it. Zara. That's the best I can offer. He sighed, checked his gun, handed her one too. You know how to use this? My father taught me. In Lagos, you learn early. Safety's here. Aim for center mass. Don't hesitate. She took the gun, felt its weight, hoped she wouldn't have to use it. They walked to Pier 17 as darkness fell completely. Do-Yun was already there with the men, positioned in shadows. Everything was in place. At exactly 11 p.m., a black van pulled up. 6 men got out. Black crane tattoos visible on their necks. Dangerous. Armed. And then another car. Cheek got out. Zara's breath caught. She hadn't seen him in 8 months. He looked terrible. Thinner, older, desperate. That's your brother? Tae-yang asked quietly. Yes. Last chance to change your mind about my promise. No, I meant what I said. The Black Crane's leader, a man with a scarred face and cold eyes, gestured Chike forward. You have information about the girl, he said in Korean. Do-Yun translated quietly through Tae-yang's earpiece, who then whispered to Zara. Yun Tae-yang's weakness. Yes, Chike said in English. My sister, Zara. He took her 3 weeks ago. I know where she works, where she lives, her routines. We know all that already. The leader stepped closer, menacing. We want current location. Where is she now? I don't know exactly, but I know she matters to him. I know if you take her, he'll give you anything. We don't want Tae-yang's money. The leader pulled a gun. We want his blood. The girl is just the knife to his throat. So tell us where she is, or you're useless. Cheek's face went pale. I don't know. Then you die here. Wait! Cheek scrambled backward. I can find her. Give me time. I'll get her to contact me. You're wasting my time. The leader aimed. Tae-yang moved. Everything happened at once. Gunshots from the rooftops. The black cranes dropping. Chaos erupting. Do-Yun and his men flooding the pier from both sides. Zara watched her brother hit the ground, covering his head. Watched Tae-yang move through the violence like a force of nature. Efficient. Brutal. The snake uncoiling. Completely. It was over in 90 seconds. 7 black cranes dead. Do-Yun securing the perimeter. And Cheek, still on the ground, looking up as Tae-yang approached. Please, Cheek begged. Please, I didn't know. You knew exactly what you were doing. Tae-yang's voice was ice. You sold your sister to save yourself. That's not ignorance. That's cowardice. I'm sorry. I'll do anything. Get up. Cheek stood on shaking legs. Tae-yang grabbed his collar, dragged him forward, toward where Zara stood at the edge of the pier. Cheek saw her. His eyes went wide. Zara, I'm sorry. I didn't mean. They said they'd kill me. And you thought they'd be gentler with me? Zara's voice was steady, calm, cold. I'm your sister, Cheek. I came to Seoul to help you. I stayed when I should have left because you begged, and you sold me. I didn't have a choice. You had a choice. She looked at Tae-yang. Can we talk? Alone? He hesitated, then nodded. Stepped back. Kept his gun ready, but gave them space. Zara walked closer to her brother. Saw the man who used to give her piggyback rides, who taught her to ride a bicycle, who cried at their father's funeral and promised he'd take care of her. I forgive you, she said quietly. Cheek's face crumpled with relief. Thank you, Zara, thank you. But I never want to see you again. She said it with finality. You're my brother. I'll always love you in some broken way. But you're also the reason I was kidnapped, terrorized, almost killed. And you didn't come for me. You sold me. So I forgive you because I need to let go of this weight. But you're dead to me now. Zara, go back to Lagos. Get help. Fix yourself. But don't ever contact me again. Don't try to find me. Don't use our family connection as an excuse. She stepped back. We're done. Tae-yang moved forward, grabbed Chiki again, pulled him close enough to whisper something in his ear that made Chiki go white. Then he shoved him toward a car where Do-Yun waited. Take him to the airport, Tae-yang ordered in Korean. First flight to Lagos. Make sure he gets on it. If he ever comes back to Korea, kill him. Do-Yun nodded, pushed Chike into the car. They drove away. Zara stood at the pier, watching the tail lights disappear, feeling lighter and heavier at the same time. Tae-yang came up behind her, wrapped his arms around her waist, rested his chin on her shoulder. Are you okay? He asked. I don't know. Honest. I did the right thing, but it still hurts. I know. What did you say to him? When you whispered? I told him that if he ever speaks your name again, if he ever tries to contact you, if he even thinks about you in a way that causes you pain, I will find him, and I will make him regret being born. His voice was soft, deadly. I told him that you're under my protection now, that you're mine, and anyone who hurts what's mine doesn't die. Quickly! Zara should have been horrified, should have felt wrong about the possessiveness, the threat, the violence. Instead, she turned in his arms, kissed him, and whispered, "Thank you." For what? For keeping your promise, for letting him live, for choosing me. Always, Taeyang said against her lips. I will always choose you. They stood like that, holding each other on a pier stained with blood and violence, while Seoul glittered around them. Two broken people finding something whole in each other. Can we go home now? Zara asked. Where's home? Wherever you are. He smiled, real and unguarded and beautiful, and led her back to the car. 3 weeks after the pier, Zara moved into Taeyang's penthouse officially. Not as a prisoner this time, as a choice. Her things, what little she had left from her old apartment, fit into 3 boxes, a whole life in Seoul, reduced to books and clothes and a few pictures of her mother. This is it? Taeyang asked, looking at the boxes. I travel light. She smiled. Always have. We'll get you more, whatever you want. Fill this place with things that make you happy. I just need you and a piano I can listen to at 3 a.m. He kissed her for that, slow and sweet and full of promise. Living with Taeyang was different when it wasn't captivity. The compound felt less like a prison and more like a home. She learned the rhythms of his life. Morning coffee taken in silence, afternoon calls in rapid Korean, evenings spent together cooking. She taught him how to make jollof rice. He taught her how to make kimchi jjigae. And every night at 3 a.m., she'd wake to find him at the piano. Sometimes she joined him. Sometimes she just listened from the doorway. But he always knew she was there. Always looked calmer when she was near. The Jade Serpent business continued. Taeyang still did terrible things. She knew that. Didn't ask for details. Couldn't reconcile the man who killed people with the man who held her gently. But he kept that world separate from her as much as he could. Until he couldn't anymore. 1 month after the pier, the doorbell rang at 2 p.m. Zara was reading, thinking Taeyang was at a meeting. But he came into the living room, his expression strange. There's someone here to see you, he said. Who? Your mother. The book fell from Zara's hands. What? That's impossible. She's in Lagos. She's sick. Come see for yourself. Zara ran to the door on shaking legs. And there, standing in the hallway with a nervous smile, holding a small suitcase, was Adai's Obi, her mother. Thinner than Zara remembered, gray streaking through her hair, but alive and here and real. Mama! Zara's voice broke. Zara, my baby girl. They collided. Zara buried her face in her mother's shoulder, breathing in the familiar smell of shea butter and home, sobbing so hard she couldn't speak. I thought, how are you here? How did you... Adai's pulled back, cupped Zara's face. Your young man. He found me. Paid for everything. The flight, the medical clearance, everything. He said you needed me. Zara turned to look at Taeyang, who stood back, giving them space. His expression was soft, uncertain. Like he wasn't sure if he'd done the right thing. When? Zara asked him. When did you do this? 3 weeks ago, right after the pier. I saw how you looked when you walked away from your brother, and I thought... He stopped. Started again. I thought everyone should have at least one family member who doesn't betray them. Zara couldn't breathe. Couldn't process this. The man who kidnapped her just reunited her with her mother. The Mafia heir who killed without hesitation just gave her the one thing she wanted most. Thank you, she whispered, inadequate, insufficient, but all she had. Taeyang, thank you. I'll let you two catch up. He started to leave. Wait. Adai's voice stopped him. She walked over, took his hands in hers, studied his face. So you're the man who loves my daughter? Taeyang looked panicked. We haven't... You love her, Adai said with certainty. I can see it. The way you look at her. The way you found me and brought me here. The way you're giving us space now, even though this is your home. She smiled. My husband was like that, strong on the outside, soft where it mattered. Your husband was a good man. I'm not. You're good enough for my daughter. That's what matters. She patted his cheek. Thank you for taking care of her, for protecting her, for loving her, even if you haven't said it yet. Taeyang looked at Zara over a Daisy's shoulder. His eyes said everything his mouth couldn't, then he left them alone. A Daisy stayed for 2 weeks. 2 perfect weeks where Zara got to show her mother around Seoul, introduce her to Mrs. Han, translate Korean dramas, cook together, laugh together. Like no time had passed. Like the cancer and the distance and the fear never existed. But on day 3, Adaze said something that changed everything. They were having tea, Korean honey citron tea that Adaze loved, when she put her cup down carefully. "I need to tell you something," she said. "About why I'm really here. About how I already knew Taeyang before he sent for me." Zara's stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" "6 months ago, when my cancer came back, when I couldn't afford the treatment, a woman came to see me. An older Korean woman. She said she was a patient at the same hospital, noticed I needed help." Daisy's eyes were bright. "Her name was Song-hee. She paid for everything, Zara, all my treatment. She said she'd lost a son to cancer and couldn't save him, but she could save me." Zara's hands went numb. Taeyang's grandmother. "I didn't know that until I arrived here and saw her picture." Daisy gestured to the photo on the mantel, Song-hee in her garden, smiling at the camera. "That's her, the woman who saved my life." "Did she know? About me and Taeyang?" "She couldn't have. This was before you even came to Seoul. Before any of this happened." Adaze reached across the table, took Zara's hand. "Don't you see, baby? This was meant to be. Her grandmother saved me. You were kind to her. And now you and Taeyang found each other through tragedy and violence. But underneath all that, there's this thread of kindness connecting you." Zara felt tears streaming down her face. "I don't understand. How is this possible?" "I don't know, but I believe some people are meant to find each other, no matter how twisted the path." Adaze squeezed her hand. "And I believe that young man upstairs is your path, Zara. However it started, however wrong it was, you're choosing each other now. That's what matters." That night, Zara told Taeyang about Song-hee and Adaze. He sat in silence for a long time, processing. Then, "She never told me she did that. I knew she went to Lagos for treatment trials when Korean options ran out. But she never mentioned your mother. She probably didn't know I existed, didn't know we'd end up here. Or she knew exactly what she was doing." Taeyang smiled, sad and wondering. "She always said I'd find someone who makes me want to be better. Maybe she made sure that person's mother would live to see it." "Your grandmother was scheming from the grave. That sounds exactly like her." They lay in bed that night, tangled together, and Zara felt the impossible pieces click into place. Song-hee's kindness, Adaze's survival, the hospital encounter, the kidnapping, the choice. All of it leading here. "I love you," Taeyang said into the darkness. First time, clear and certain. "I didn't want to. Tried not to, but I love you, Zara, more than I've ever loved anything." "I love you too," she whispered back. "My beautiful, broken, dangerous man. Do you ever regret it? How we started?" "I regret the fear, the lack of choice in the beginning. But I don't regret where we ended up." She kissed his scarred knuckles. "I choose you, every day. Even knowing what you do, who you are, I choose you." "You're the only good thing I've ever done," he said. "The only thing I didn't destroy." "Then keep choosing me back. Choose to be better, not perfect, just better." "I will," he promised. "For you, I will." 2 months after the Pier, Taeyang made his choice. He called Zara into his office, looking serious. Nervous. She'd never seen him nervous before. "I need to show you something," he said. He pulled up documents on his computer, business papers, legal documents. "I'm getting out," he told her. "Not completely. I can't walk away from the Jade Serpent entirely. There's too much blood, too much history. But I'm transferring territory, promoting Do Yun to take over most operations. I'm moving to legitimate business." Zara stared at him. "Why?" "Because I want a life with you, a real life. And I can't give you that while I'm running a criminal empire. I can't." His voice broke. "I can't risk you the way I risked Minseo. I won't." "Taeyang, you don't have to." "I do. I need to." He turned the computer screen toward her. "I've been planning this since the Pier, since I realized I'd burn everything to keep you safe, so I'm burning it, slowly, carefully. but I'm burning it. What will you do instead? I'm keeping the clubs, making them legitimate, also investing in real estate, tech startups, things that won't get you killed. He pulled out another document. And I'm starting a foundation, in my grandmother's name, for cancer patients who can't afford treatment, like your mother. Zara couldn't speak, could barely breathe. She'd want that, she finally managed. Song-hee, she'd love that. I know. He stood, walked around the desk, knelt in front of her. I'm not asking you to marry me, not yet. We've only known each other 3 months, and most of that was insane. But I'm asking you to build something with me, a life, a real life, away from the violence, towards something better. Yes, Zara said immediately. Yes, I'll build it with you. He kissed her, gentle and desperate and full of hope. And for the first time since his mother died, Yoon Tae-yang believed in something beyond survival. He believed in possibility. 6 months after the Pier, everything changed again. Zara stood in the bathroom of the penthouse at 7 a.m., staring at a positive pregnancy test. She was pregnant, with Tae-yang's baby. Terror flooded through her, followed by something else, something warm and unexpected. Joy. She wanted this, against all logic, against all the reasons this was complicated and scary and too fast. She wanted this. When Tae-yang got home that evening, she was waiting in the living room, the test in her hand. We need to talk, she said. He went pale. Are you leaving? Did I do something? I'm pregnant. Silence. Complete silence. Then, what? I'm pregnant. About 6 weeks, I think. I took 3 tests. They're all positive. Tae-yang sat down, stood up, sat again. Ran his hands through his hair. Say something, Zara begged. Please. I'm going to be a father, he said, his voice wondering. I'm going to... He looked at her, his eyes bright. We're having a baby. Are you okay with this? I know it's fast. I know we haven't talked about... He crossed the room in 3 strides, pulled her into his arms, held her like she was made of glass. I'm terrified, he admitted. I'm terrified I'll be like my father, that I'll mess this up, that I'll... You won't, Zara said firmly. You're not him. You're the man who plays Chopin at 3 a.m. and reunited me with my mother and is walking away from violence to build something better. You'll be an amazing father. I want to marry you, he blurted out. Before the baby comes, I need you to be my wife, not because of the baby, because I can't imagine my life without you in it. Permanently. Zara laughed and cried at the same time. Is this a proposal? It's a terrible proposal. I don't have a ring. I'm panicking. She kissed him, shut him up with her lips and her love and her certainty. Yes, she said when they broke apart. Yes, I'll marry you. They stood in the penthouse, holding each other, a baby growing between them, and everything felt right in a way nothing ever had before. 8 months later, Zara went into labor at 2 a.m. Tae-yang drove to the hospital like a madman, holding her hand the entire time, breathing with her through contractions. You're doing so well, he kept saying. So well, baby. I'm here. I'm not leaving. 16 hours later, their daughter was born. Perfect. Tiny. With Zara's dark skin and Tae-yang's eyes and a cry that told them she was strong. What should we name her? Tae-yang asked, holding his daughter for the first time, tears streaming down his face. Song-hee, Zara said immediately. After your grandmother. She brought us together. She deserves to be remembered. Song-hee Obi-yoon, Tae-yang whispered to the baby. Your name means blossom joy, and you're both, our blossom, our joy. The baby stopped crying, looked at her father with wide dark eyes, and Yoon Tae-yang, former Mafia heir, fell completely in love for the second time in his life. 1 year after the Pier, on the exact anniversary, Tae-yang and Zara got married. Small ceremony. Just Do-yoon, Mrs. Han, Adaiz, and baby Song-hee. In the garden of the safe house in the mountains, surrounded by roses that Tae-yang had planted in his grandmother's memory. Zara wore a dress that combined Korean and Nigerian styles, white hanbok-inspired top with Ankara print fabric cascading down. Tae-yang wore a traditional black suit with subtle Nigerian embroidery at the cuffs, a fusion, like everything they were. Do-yoon officiated, reading words in Korean and English about love that transforms, about choosing each other despite impossible beginnings, about building something beautiful from broken pieces. When it was time for vows, Tae-young took Zara's hands. 1 year ago, I kidnapped you, he said, and Zara laughed through tears. Worst decision and best decision of my life. You were supposed to be leverage, a problem, a witness to eliminate. Instead, you became my salvation. His voice broke. He steadied himself. You looked at me like I was human when I'd forgotten how to be. You held my hand when I was drowning. You chose me when you had every reason to run. And now you've given me a daughter, a future, a reason to be better every single day. He pulled out a ring, simple gold band with a small Nigerian ruby and Korean jade inlaid together. Zara Obi, I promise to spend the rest of my life being worthy of the choice you made. I promise to play Chopin for you at 3 a.m. I promise to protect you and Song-hee with everything I have. I promise to keep choosing you every day for the rest of our lives. Will you marry me? Officially? Forever? Yes, Zara whispered. Forever. She slid the ring on her finger, then took his hands. Yoon Tae-yang, 1 year ago, you terrified me, but somewhere between captivity and choice, between violence and tenderness, I fell in love with you. The real you. Not the snake, not the monster, just the man who plays piano in the dark and loves so fiercely it hurts. She pulled out his ring, gold band with an engraving inside that reads, Even thorns create beauty. You've given me everything, my mother, my freedom, our daughter, a life I didn't know I could have, and I promise to spend the rest of my life reminding you that you deserve love, that you're more than what your father made you, that you're good, Tae-yang. You're so good. Her voice broke. She continued, I promise to be your safe place. I promise to listen when you can't sleep. I promise to choose you every single day, no matter what comes. I promise to build this beautiful, messy, impossible life with you. Forever. He slid the ring on his finger, pulled her close, kissed her while everyone cheered. When they broke apart, Song-hee, held by a dais, let out a loud cry as if demanding attention. Everyone laughed. Tae-yang took his daughter, held her against his chest. You're right, Song-hee. This is your day too. None of this exists without your grandmother watching over us. Adais wiped tears. Song-hee is here. In the roses, in this garden, in that baby. She's so proud of you both. They celebrated with Korean barbecue and Nigerian jollof rice, with soju and palm wine, with traditional songs from both cultures. Do-yun made a toast about how he thought his boss had lost his mind a year ago, but now he understood. Love wasn't losing your mind. It was finding a different kind of sanity. As the sun set over the mountains, Tae-yang and Zara slipped away from the celebration, walked to the edge of the garden where the view opened up to endless forest. Do you ever think about that night? Zara asked, leaning against him. The warehouse? The gun? Every day, he admitted. I think about how close I came to killing you, how different everything would be if I'd pulled that trigger. But you didn't. But I didn't. He kissed the top of her head. My grandmother used to say that every life has a moment where the path splits. One choice leads to darkness, the other to light. You were my split. And somehow, miraculously, I chose light. We chose each other, Zara corrected. I could have run, could have said no, could have gotten on that plane back to Lagos. But I stayed. I chose you back. Why? He'd asked before, but he needed to hear it again. Why did you choose me, Zara? Really? She thought about it, about the bathroom where she cut her hair, about the medical room, about the piano at 3 a.m., about his grandmother's hidden kindness, about every small moment that built into something unstoppable. Because you were drowning too, she said finally. That first night, when you had the gun on me, I saw it. You were as trapped as I was, just in a different cage. And I thought, if we're both drowning, maybe we can keep each other afloat. And did we? We're still here, aren't we? She turned in his arms, looked up at him. We're married. We have a daughter. You're walking away from violence. I'm teaching again. My mother is healthy. We're building something real. So yes, Tae-yang, we kept each other afloat. He kissed her, slow, deep, full of a year's worth of impossible love. When they returned to the celebration, Song-hee was asleep in Adai's arms, and everyone was laughing at something Mrs. Han said. The lights strung through the garden glowed warm. Music played, a mix of K-pop and Afro beats. Taeyang pulled Zara into a dance. They swayed together under the stars, and for the first time in his 31 years, he felt peace. "I'm happy," he said, surprised by it. "I don't think I've ever been happy before." "Get used to it," Zara smiled. "We're just getting started." 5 years later, Songhee was 4.5, running through the same garden while her parents watched from the porch. She looked like both of them, Zara's features softened by Taeyang's structure, skin that was perfect brown, hair that was thick and wavy. She spoke Korean and English fluently, was learning Igbo from her grandmother, and had Taeyang's intensity combined with Zara's warmth. "Appa! Appa!" She ran to Taeyang, holding a caterpillar. "Look, it's going to be a butterfly." "That's beautiful, Songhee." He crouched to her level, examined the caterpillar seriously. "You're taking good care of it?" "Yes. Hermione said I have to be gentle, like you are with Mama." Zara laughed. "Your grandmother tells her everything." "She's not wrong." Taeyang picked up Songhee, caterpillar and all. "Being gentle is important." "Were you always gentle, Appa?" Taeyang and Zara's eyes met over their daughter's head. "No," he said honestly. "I had to learn. Your mama taught me." "Can you teach me too?" "Every day, Songhee, every day." She wiggled down, ran back to her caterpillar hunt. Adaze came out with tea, settled into a chair. She'd moved to Korea permanently 2 years ago, living in a small apartment nearby. Her cancer remained in remission. She said it was the kimchi. "She's going to be trouble, that one," Adaze said fondly. "Smart like her mother, intense like her father." "We're doomed," Zara agreed cheerfully. "Blessed," Taeyang corrected. "We're blessed." The Songhee Foundation was thriving. They'd helped over 300 families afford cancer treatment in the last 4 years. Taeyang's legitimate businesses were successful. He'd officially left the Jade Serpent 6 months ago, turning everything over to Do-yeon. There were still connections, still respect, still danger sometimes, but it was distant now, manageable. Zara taught English online, worked with the foundation, wrote poetry that she'd started submitting to literary magazines. 3 of her poems had been published, all about transformation, about choosing light from darkness, about love that rewrites your story. They'd bought the safe house in the mountains, made it their permanent home, renovated it, added rooms for more children. They were trying for a second baby, planted more roses, built a life that was quiet and beautiful and real. "I'm going to start dinner," Adaze said, standing. "Jollof or bulgogi tonight?" "Both," Taeyang and Zara said together. Adaze laughed, went inside. Songhee was singing to her caterpillar in the garden, making up words in 3 languages, and Taeyang pulled Zara close, kissed her temple, breathed her in. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For what?" "For staying, that first week, when you could have given up, could have retreated into fear, could have let the captivity break you. You stayed present, you saw me, and that changed everything." "You're welcome, but also..." Zara turned to face him. "Thank you for letting me stay, for choosing to keep me alive, for being brave enough to feel something instead of just surviving." "Do you ever miss Lagos?" "Sometimes. I miss the markets, the chaos, the energy, but..." She gestured to the garden, to Songhee, to the mountains around them. "This is home now, you're home. We should take her, to Lagos, let her see where you're from, meet your family there." "Really?" "Really. She should know all of herself. Korean and Nigerian, violence and peace, darkness and light, all of it." Zara kissed him for that, for understanding, for trying, for being the father and husband he didn't have an example for but figured out anyway. That night, after Songhee was asleep, after Adaeze went home, Taeyang sat at the piano. 3 a.m., like always. But this time, he wasn't playing Chopin. He was playing something new, something he'd been composing for months, a piece that started dark and violent, moved through chaos, then resolved into something tender and hopeful. He called it Zara's Song. She came to listen, like always. Stood in the doorway in one of his t-shirts, watching him play. When he finished, he turned to her. "I was thinking about that night," he said. "The warehouse, the gun, the moment I almost killed you." "Taeyang." "Let me finish." He stood, walked to her. "I was thinking about how that moment, that terrible, violent moment, led to this. To Song-hee sleeping upstairs? To your mother healthy? To me, being someone I never thought I could be. And I realized something. What? Sometimes the worst thing that ever happens to you is also the best thing. Because it breaks you open, forces you to rebuild. And when you rebuild, you get to choose what you become. He cupped her face, made her look at him. You broke me open, Zara, that night, every night since, and you helped me rebuild into someone who can love, who can be loved, who can be a father, a husband, a man instead of a monster. You were never a monster, Zara said firmly. You were just hurt and scared and alone, like I was. Like we both were, he corrected. Past tense, because we're not alone anymore. No, she agreed, pulling him toward the bedroom. We're not. They made love slowly, quietly, not wanting to wake Song-hee. And afterward, tangled together in sheets that smelled like home, Zara said, I'm pregnant. Tae-yang went still. What? Found out yesterday. Didn't want to tell you until after the anniversary. But I'm pregnant. About 6 weeks. He rolled her onto her back, careful despite his excitement. You're sure? Positive test. 3 of them. Just like last time. We're having another baby. His voice was full of wonder. Song-hee's going to be a big sister. Are you happy? Happy doesn't cover it. He kissed her stomach, then her lips. I'm terrified and grateful and overwhelmed, and so happy. Me too. They fell asleep holding each other, another life growing between them. Song-hee breathing softly in the next room, roses blooming outside the window. And in the morning, when Tae-yang woke to sunlight instead of insomnia, he realized something. He'd stopped playing Chopin at 3 a.m. because he'd stopped needing to bleed through music. He'd found a different way to feel human. Through love. Through family. Through choosing light every single day. The snake had finally shed its skin and become something else entirely. Something better. 10 years after the warehouse. Song-hee was 14, her brother Tae-yang Jr., TJ, was 8, and their youngest sister, Adayez, named for her grandmother, was 5. The family gathered in the mountain house for dinner. All 3 kids arguing about something in a mix of Korean, English, and Igbo that made Tae-yang's head hurt. English, please, he said. Or Mama and I can't referee. TJ took my caterpillar journal, Song-hee complained. I was just looking at it, TJ defended. You said I could. I said you could look, not take it to school and show everyone. It's beautiful art. You should be proud. Adayez, the peacemaker, climbed into her father's lap. Appa, tell them to stop fighting. They're siblings, Tae-yang said, kissing her forehead. Fighting is part of the job. But it's loud. I know, baby. Want to help me with dinner instead? She nodded eagerly, ran to the kitchen. Zara was already there, chopping vegetables, looking tired but happy. 43 years old now, laugh lines around her eyes, gray starting in her natural hair that she wore proudly. Still beautiful. Still his. Song-hee and TJ again? She asked. The caterpillar journal incident. Ah, a classic sibling rivalry. Should we intervene? Let them work it out. Builds character. Tae-yang wrapped his arms around her waist from behind, rested his chin on her shoulder. Remember when it was just us? Quiet? No. She laughed. I honestly don't. Feels like we've always had chaos. Good chaos. The best chaos. Grandmother Adayez arrived with Do-yun. They'd gotten married 3 years ago, surprising everyone. She was 70 now, still sharp, still strong, still cancer-free. Do-yun had fully retired from the Jade Serpent, was running a security consulting business. He and Tae-yang were still close, still brothers in all the ways that mattered. The whole family gathered around the table. 9 people, 3 generations, 2 cultures, so much love, it felt like the house couldn't contain it. Before they ate, Song-hee stood up. I have an announcement, she said, nervous. Everyone looked at her. I got into Seoul National University, early admission, full scholarship. The table exploded with excitement. Zara burst into tears. Tae-yang stood, pulled his daughter into a hug so tight she squeaked. I'm so proud of you, he said, voice thick. So incredibly proud. There's more, Song-hee said. I'm majoring in music composition and social justice. I want to write music that means something, that helps people. Like the foundation helps people. Tae-yang couldn't speak, just held his daughter, and felt his grandmother's presence so strongly it was like she was in the room. Song-hee, his daughter, his first joy, his proof that monsters could create something beautiful, was going to change the world. Later, after the celebration died down, after the kids were in bed, Taeyang and Zara sat on the porch. "Can you believe it?" Zara asked. 14 years since I walked through that bathroom door. Since you didn't kill me. Best decision I never made. Second best, she corrected. Best decision was choosing to keep me. No, best decision was you choosing to stay. They'd had this argument 1,000 times. Would have it 1,000 more. We built something good, Zara said, looking out at the garden where 3 caterpillar habitats sat. 1 for each child, because apparently love of caterpillars was genetic. From something terrible, we built something so good. We did, Taeyang agreed. And I'd do it all again, every moment, every mistake, every choice, because it led here. Even the kidnapping? Especially the kidnapping. He pulled her close. Though maybe with less trauma next time. Next time? Planning to kidnap someone else? Only you. Over and over. In every lifetime. She laughed, kissed him, tasted 14 years of love and life, and choosing each other daily. I love you, Yoon Taeyang, my reformed gangster, my midnight pianist, my partner in this beautiful chaos. I love you, Zara Yoon, my salvation, my light, my reason for everything. They sat like that, holding each other, while their children slept safely inside, and roses bloomed in gardens planted by ghosts who loved them still. 2 broken people who found each other in violence, chose each other in captivity, built a life together in freedom, and taught 3 children that even the darkest beginnings can become the most beautiful stories. If you're brave enough to choose love, again and again and again. Besties, if this story grabbed you by the heart and didn't let go, I need you to do something for me right now. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. Because Zara and Taeyang's story is exactly what Soul Heart Stories is all about. Dark beginnings, impossible love, and transformation that feels earned. Drop a comment below. What was your favorite moment? The piano at 3 a.m.? The grandmother's hidden kindness? The warehouse confrontation? The wedding? Tell me what made you feel something, because your feedback shapes what stories we tell next. And if you want more stories like this, where love crosses every boundary, breaks every rule, and rebuilds broken people into something whole, this channel is your home now. Share this with someone who loves dark romance, who believes in second chances, who understands that sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is also the doorway to your greatest joy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for going on this journey with Zara and Taeyang. Thank you for believing that even monsters deserve love if they're willing to change. New stories drop every week. Each one will take you deeper into worlds where love is dangerous, passion is destructive, and choosing each other is the bravest thing you can do. Until next time, bestie. Remember that sometimes the person who scares you most is the person who'll love you best. Welcome to Soul Heart Stories. Welcome home,